Hello everyone, my name is MansaMusa and welcome back to my channel, and today we're back with another video in Advanced Wars by Web. And today we're back with the third installment in the OneTurn series, and we have a game between JTQWN and ShipB in the Mariner Cup. For those of you who don't know, the Mariner Cup is a kind of semi-monthly tournament hosted on the Advanced Wars by Web site for standard level matches. That means those that are taking place that are not in FOG and those that are not high funds. Like I said, it happens every few months, and this is from the Division 1, so the top of the tier opponents in the round 1 game. Kind of talking about the map here for a second. This game took place on Looming Threat. It is a mixed-based map. It's always tradition for the first round in the Mariner Cup to always be a mixed-based map, so that's what we have here. And it's a pretty high terrain map as well, so you see you have a bunch of forests strewn across the map, as well as 2 contested comm towers that we have on either side of the map here. And you generally get some of this dynamic that you see here on the board state, where the green player here will sometimes be pushing down to the solo base and airport over here, with the red player pushing north as well. To start with, these bases right here and right here actually belong to the opposite player, so this base belongs to green and this base belongs to red, and then generally those two get swapped. So you may be wondering, this map looks a little bit strange at the moment. That's because we're on day 24. We're doing a OneTurn review, but yes, that is how the map looks at base. Kind of talking about these players for a second. We have first JTQWN. JTQWN is a very well-known person on the site. I believe he is a almost 1700 rated player and also the current #1 player in high funds. So when I said we were dealing with high-level opponents, we are dealing with the best of the best on the entire site. I think JTQWN is top 10 in terms of overall elo on the entire site, in the history of the site, and that's about 20,000 accounts I think are currently signed up on Advanced Wars by Web, so being top 10 is pretty insane. ShipB, his opponent, I will be honest, I don't know as much about, but if he's in Division 1, he's going to be 1300, 1400 rated player at base, somewhere in that neighborhood. But yeah, this is going to be a OneTurn review on the power of JTQWN and also the power of Eagle in general, especially in mixed-based formats, to see kind of just the destruction that power can have, specifically the lightning strike. With all that being said, before we hop into the turn itself, let's look into the board state review. I normally do this in kind of the middle to end of most of my normal reviews, but I think it's good to do it here just before we get into this turn, because it is kind of a very complex board state, and I think it's worth talking about. So before we're going into JTQWN's turn here, we can see that he's down about, what is that, about 6k in terms of total unit value, with 21k income, so he's slightly winning on that standpoint. Generally, if you're down about half your income, that's about where the break-even line is. Anything that you're down by less than that means that you're winning. If you're down by more than that, let's say like a full turn's worth of income, you're generally losing the match. In terms of unit count, he's down 2 units, but at such a high unit count, 60 to 62, it's not going to matter much. And then overall income, he's down 4k, so that's pretty bad, but also in an Eagle versus Max matchup, that's going to be very expected. Max, it has to be the aggressive CO that kind of kills you fast. Eagle is going to get better the longer the match goes on, and obviously on day 24 here with 60 to 62 unit count, Eagle is definitely in a good position here. In terms of otherwise board state things to note, there is 3 of the 4 comm towers, this one, and this one, all belong to Max. That is an advantage for ShipB, while only one belonging to JTQWN. And then the HQs on this map are the 2 labs, so like I've talked about previously, if there are no HQs, you have to capture all the labs in order to rout your opponent. So we see here on the map that it's 2 apiece for each player, but these 2 labs right here and here for JTQWN are somewhat under threat. Obviously, ShipB already has a wall of infantry coming to capture this lab, and this lab is a bit more protected for now, but ShipB is bringing in more infantry to the north here to potentially threaten this lab as well. With all that being said, let's hop right into this turn though. JTQWN versus ShipB here on day 24 of the Mariner Cup, and see just how powerful Eagle's Lightning Strike can be. So we start this turn off by first having to get Lightning Strike. That's the first hurdle in this match. Obviously, JTQWN is still about 4 bars away, so around 40,000-ish income or charge away from getting his Lightning Strike. So let's see how he is able to do it. The first thing he does is he clears off the infantry here on the lab, brings in more infantry to open up space towards this anti-air, and it's now a good time to kind of talk about the general strategy of this attack as a whole. So you can see that JTQWN here has 7 battlecopters coming in to address some of the army in this area, and ShipB only has 4 anti-air to deal with all of these. He obviously also has a lot of battlecopters, but JTQWN's going to bring in his own anti-air to kind of kill those off in the next two turns here, the initial turn and then the lightning strike turn. So the battlecopter's not a huge worry. What's a bigger worry is these anti-air. If he can target fire them down, he's going to have air superiority in the area, which often wins you the match. So try to keep an eye on all 4 of these anti-air, see which ones survive, see how JTQWN is able to target fire them down, and just kind of keep an eye on them in general in terms of the strength of this attack. But we keep on going here for JTQWN. He goes ahead and sacrifices the 3 HP into the anti-air. Normally against some certain lower attack RCOs, this might be a roll, but because you're facing Max, who has plus 20% attack on his direct fire units and with 3 comm towers, sacrifices are going to be especially strong here for JTQWN when attacking direct fire units, because they're going to do so much damage on the counterattack that you can sack a lot of units. So we bring in some more infantry here to clear off some more infantry in the space, open up some of these battlecopters up to attacks. You'll notice that this anti-air was actually not in range to attack any of these battlecopters, so it was just used to kill off an infantry, but on the next turn, the lightning strike, it is going to be able to do that. We bring in more battlecopters to clear off some infantry in the area, use the Neo tank to kill off the first of the 4 anti-air, and bring in a tank here to get an attack on the tank on the plane. We see pretty much a full sacrifice of the tank here on the battlecopter, again to build charge, and then he brings in his own battlecopter to finish it off, fully clearing the space to attack now this infantry on the silo. We sacrifice the 4 HP into the full HP infantry on the road. That's a classic sacrifice you should always be looking out for. Any 4 HP infantry that you have can always be sacrificed into a full HP infantry that your opponent has. That's regardless of the matchup, so you should always be looking out for that in your matches for powerful wall breaks of your own. We bring in the tank to finish off the infantry here. Use the battlecopter to come in and kill off this infantry, and now you can see that this pretty powerful wall that Chippy had is now completely crumbling. These infantry are going to die very easily. You clear off this tank very easily, and then potentially you can attack this anti-air on the plane. So we continue on, we kill off the infantry on the silo with the battlecopter and infantry. Tank comes in, knocks this infantry down to 2 HP. The next battlecopter comes in, finishes off. We bring in a tank in to finish off the tank on the planes. The medium tank comes in, and I think that's a roll there. Especially in this matchup with the, you don't have the superpower yet, so it may not be a roll actually, that might be just a guaranteed 9 HP damage, but if that was a roll, then JTQWN got a little bit unlucky. Obviously you can still bring in some of these other units to finish off the job, but a little bit unlucky there, I think. So then we bring in the anti-air to come off and finish the battlecopter on the road. Tank comes in, again just gets a little bit of chip damage here on the tank on the city. Just again building charge. We're only 4,000 away from it now, so that's about the number you want to be at because you still have a bunch of units over here left to attack. You should have plenty of charge here in order to get the power. This anti-air is not yet in range to attack the battlecopter, so you're not going to be able to get it easily with that. So some of these sacrifices, like this tank into the tank on the city, and then this tank which sacrificed itself into a battlecopter, were probably necessary in order to get the lightning strike here. But we keep on going. We see the tank sacrifice itself into the tank. The infantry sacrifices itself into the tank on the comm tower, not doing a single lick of damage and fully dying on the return damage. That is something that is not normal. That is the fact that it's Max with better tanks in general and also 3 comm towers, making that a guaranteed kill on the return fire. So do not attempt that in your normal matches if you're trying to sacrifice your units. But we see some more infantry sacrifices here. The same situation going on, the full 10 damage return fire because of Max with these 3 comm towers. And we are just now able to get it now with the tank killing off the recon. So now we have full access to our lightning strike, so now it's just going to be about positioning our units in the best way to actually take advantage of it. We bring in the tank here. I think, again, that's a little bit unlucky. That's probably a roll that JTQWN did not get. A nice hit here on the infantry, again, just positioning our tanks in the area to wipe off some of these tanks and recons in the area here if I should be. We build a anti-air here on this base, and this is actually a very strong anti-air because it's now in 1 turn range of the battlecopter. And again, this is why lightning strike is so strong. You pop this, and now this anti-air can immediately move and kill this battlecopter on the missile silo. So yeah, that's just some of the power that lightning strike has, allowing your units just built on bases to attack on the same turn. We bring in the artillery for a similar reason. This might seem like kind of suicidal positioning, but with lightning strike, the artillery allowed to move and shoot, so they move into position, and now it can fire on all the infantry and perhaps this artillery here on the tank on the city. So that's going to be probably a very powerful attack here by JTQWN. He brings in his battlecopter into position here, also weakening the infantry on the plane. Now it's important to note that your infantry do not get a double turn. So when you're playing as Eagle and you're going for a lightning strike, I like to basically ignore my infantry until kind of the mid to late part of maybe even the second turn, honestly, because you're only going to be able to move them once. So unless you need to move them in order to get the charge in the first place, you should probably wait till the end to kind of figure out the best moves for those infantry. But we go ahead and pop lightning strike here by JTQWN, and let's see how he finishes off the job here. So the anti-air comes in, like we talked about earlier, and finishes off the battlecopter on the missile silo. This allows the infantry to come in and finish off the infantry on the beach tile. This tank comes in that was also built on the base on the previous turn of the lightning strike, comes in and knocks down this recon to 1 HP. This anti-air comes in and finishes off the battlecopter to the north. We see the artillery now starting to get their looks in. This artillery attacks the one on the mountain. This one attacks one on the mountain as well. Infantry comes in and finishes off another infantry, also giving itself good defensive positioning. Battlecopter that attacked this infantry at first gets out of the way and then attacks this battlecopter here on the plains. Yes, it's in range of this anti-air, but it's not going to super matter. What was that move? So the infantry comes in here. Wow, gets a full kill of the infantry on the plains. I think that's a little bit lucky, even with the superpower. I can almost guarantee that was a roll, but a good one there by JTQWN. Tank comes in and finishes off the infantry on the plains tile. The battlecopter comes in and does finish off the tank on the city. Then anti-air comes in and finishes off the battlecopter. So great kills there, wiping out a lot of the battlecopters and the anti-airs, which are starting to become threats. Those were like the main threats that Shippy had here. Anti-air comes off and kills another battlecopter, also opening up this mountain tile for his own battlecopter to come in to finish off this tank. So that's what we see here. Medium tank comes in, fully kills off this anti-air, so now it's just these two anti-air that are left here for Shippy. We kill off this tank on the city here with the battlecopter and tank combo, and now this anti-air is in range to get the bomber. And the bomber was kind of the main threat that Shippy had as kind of a return fire here. The bomber could have come in and attacked this medium tank, but now this anti-air, which was so expertly positioned on the first turn, it came in and killed a battlecopter on this tile here, and now on the second turn it's going to come in and almost fully kill off the bomber, leaving it on 1 HP, but still incredible value. It's killed off, you know, what is that, 31k worth of total value essentially within 2 turns for 1 unit, and it's still living. It's still potentially can do more damage on future turns. That is an insane amount of value to get, and it's why Eagle is so strong in general. Battlecopter comes in, gets another 6 HP off the tank here on the forest. Tank wraps around to finish it off. Other battlecopter comes in, knocks it down to 1 HP. I think this is a low luck roll again. Eagle does have more power on his battlecopters, and with the extra power from the superpower, this was probably a roll that JTQWN did not get. Recon comes in and kills off the infantry on the forest. Artillery attacks the infantry on the forest, clearing way for the injured tank to come in and open up path to attack the tank. This anti-air is now vulnerable, so the tank comes in, knocks it down to 2 HP. And now we can see that for all of these 7 battlecopters that we had at the start of the turn, Shippy only has this 1 healthy anti-air to address all of them, and it's actually not in range of pretty much any of them except this one here on the plain tile, which of all the battlecopters on the field for JTQWN is by far the least valuable one. So it just absolute decimation of the army here on the right side by JTQWN. We see the other battlecopter come in and help finish off the tank here on the comm tower. Other tank comes in, now taking the comm tower style, gets a nice hit here on the tank on the forest. This tank comes in, knocks this recon down to 1 HP. I think that was also maybe a low luck roll. There's so many luck rolls here on this turn here that I have not, I'm going to be honest, I haven't calculated on my own here, but I'm sure people in the comments will let me know which one of these were luck rolls versus not. Just kind of going off intuition here for what I think it should be. But I think I can say pretty confidently overall that JTQWN maybe is getting a little unlucky on some of these luck rolls. We see some more forward infantry positioning. Because it has so much backup by this anti-air, the tank, these tanks over here, and the battlecopter, all these infantry can get pretty aggressive here into the range of Shippy's infantry, just because they pretty much have to retreat if they're going to keep on playing this game, and then you get these infantry in position to start flipping some of these cities on a following turn. So we move the infantry out further, again trying to get some more pressure here. But at this point, the game is over. I mean, let's look back here at another Uniport state check-in here. So Shippy started off with 6k more unit value than JTQWN, so it was 268 to 262, and he had 62 units to JTQWN's 60, I believe. And at the end of the double turn here by JTQWN, Shippy is down to just 30 units and 73k. So that is a loss of, what is that, almost 200,000 unit value on a single turn. That is numbers that is absolutely unbelievable. I haven't seen anything like that before. And a halving of your entire army, of which, by the way, these 30 units that are left, 16 of them are infantry units, and you have a bunch of stragglers like 1 HP battlecopter, 1 HP bomber, 2 HP anti-air, 2 HP other battlecopter, double 1 HP recons. Your entire army is gone. You've been absolutely decimated on this turn. And it's just the power that Eagle in general can have, but also a 1700 rated Eagle like JTQWN can have on his turn. So we keep on going here for a second, and should be obviously, of course, resigns the game in this position. So yeah, like I was saying, I mean, this is just absolute domination by JTQWN. And to be honest with you, this is a one-turn review, but the game was probably over before this turn even happened. Once you get into a stall state like this with Eagle, you get to day 20, 21, 22, and onwards. And the board state is somewhat Eagle like it was here, where, you're not 50 to 100k above Eagle in terms of tonate unit value. You've probably lost the game. At lower levels, kind of in the maybe 800 to 1200 elo range, maybe not even 1200 elo, maybe like 800 to 1000 level elo range. If Eagle's in this position, it's not a guaranteed win. You still have to find out, plenty of smart moves that JTQWN found here to actually finish off this game. But when you're going up against, the #1 high funds rated player in JTQWN, 1700 elo player who also plays a bunch of Eagle. I think Eagle is one of his favorite COs. There's absolutely no way you were going to win this, and it's just insane the raw amount of power that he was able to find on this turn. I mean, he probably could have won this game by knocking out, 100k, 150k worth of unit value, and maybe, 10, 15 units away from Shippy. He absolutely destroyed him. I mean, half the unit value in terms of unit count, and over half the unit value in terms of actual unit value itself, in terms of raw funds. I mean, that is just absolute and utter domination. And it just goes to show just how powerful JTQWN is. For those of you who don't know him, JTQWN also has his own YouTube channel, which has some of the funniest videos that I've seen regarding the Advanced Wars by Web community space. I think his videos on stealth fighters is one of my favorite videos in general on the entire site. So definitely go check that out. I'll link his channel down in the description. And also just go check out his journey on the site itself. Go follow his games in the Mariner Cup. I think he's also in the Quack Cup, which is another tournament that started very recently on the site. That's for more kind of unique setups that you can map out on the site itself. So that's going to be another interesting tournament to follow JTQWN in. But yeah, go to the site, follow his games, check out more of his replays, because he is just an absolutely amazingly entertaining player to watch, and one of my favorite people to cast the games of in general. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is MansaMusa, and remember, JTQWN is always watching. Bye, guys.